Thank you, Jonas. In the previous session, this is still ongoing.
No problem.
Hello, Jonas. I hope you're able to hear us.
I'm able to hear you. Are you able to hear me as well?
Yes, loud and clear. Perfect. All right,
Good.
we have running 2 minutes late, so I think let's start. So I think you can just start and then proceed.
I see 8 attendees so far.
Let's
Yes, they
Should
are
we keep
shifting
it?
now, right now from the other session.
Yeah.
Do you want to wait for 1 or 2 minutes?
We could wait.
Yeah, we can start at 11.
Give them a chance.
So this is the last one before lunch, if I understand correctly, right, Mariam? So let's wait 1 more minute, then we start.
Sounds good.
The topic seems very interesting.
I hope so.
Yeah. So is this a project manager for cybersecurity or a project manager for the whole program?
Well, we'll see.
Yes, looking forward. Yeah. All right. Yes, I think the time's here now. So yeah, please feel free.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So, do not fire your project managers. A pentesting philosophy. I once attended a presentation, actually not too long ago, where the first speaker said, if pen testers find vulnerabilities at the end of a project, fire the project manager. The presenter was arguing for shifting left, that is, handling security earlier in the development process, so early, in fact, that by the end of the project, there should not be any vulnerabilities left. And if vulnerabilities are found, then the project manager has failed and should be fired. And that single statement reveals so much about how some view pen testing. Final pass-fail gate just before the end of the project. Final digital ring of fire, you should say. Some offense to that, and I ended up asking, if discovering risk can cost someone their job, who will want to do it? And this is not a theoretical, this affects behavior. If pen testing creates fear, then findings get softened, risk gets downplayed, engagement. As pen tester, would you really want that on your conscience? Any pen testing philosophy that punishes truth will eventually stop hearing it. So, If we view vulnerabilities as liabilities, we are actively incentivizing the wrong behaviors. We are creating a culture where discovering risks becomes a career-ending event. And if your job is on the line, how motivated would you be to do a pen test? If pen testing is a final exam, if vulnerabilities equal failure, if someone must take the blame, then the problem isn't the people, it's the whole philosophy. And we need a better pen testing philosophy. A pen testing philosophy, it's not a methodology checklist or a compliance artifact. It's about defining the core principles that guide our security efforts. What do we expect pen testing to do? What is the ultimate goal? When in the development lifecycle should it happen? How do we read vulnerabilities, weapons, or tools? What behavior does it encourage? If we're just running tools without a true purpose, because the way we frame pen testing determines whether it creates learning or fear. And this leads us directly to our first principle. Pen testing brings insight, not judgment. Pen testing provides something development teams cannot fully generate themselves. And pattern recognition across systems, fresh assumptions being challenged. But it should not assign blame. It should not grade individuals. It should not become a performance review. A successful pen test tells you something you didn't already know. If it confirms what you knew, good. If it surprises you, even better. Surprise is not failure, it's learning. Vulnerabilities are inevitable. No organization has perfect code or has perfect tools, and how can you possibly ever know future exploit techniques? Static analysis helps, secure coding helps, automation helps, but none eliminate vulnerabilities. The mistake here is expecting zero findings. Expecting zero findings or zero vulnerabilities misunderstands both software and security. And if vulnerabilities are inevitable, punishing their discovery really makes no sense. Silence, though, is far more dangerous than disclosure. Pen testing should be continuous and incremental and not a final ring of fire. When we have end of project pen testing, we create high pressure, we create high cost of change and a defensive posture. And at that point, the architecture is already fixed, deadlines are real, rewrites of the application are painful. So what happens? Well, then at that point, findings get minimized. We can accept that. It's an accepted risk. It's deferred to later. Late pen tests don't improve systems. They just really reveal how much learning was delayed. And still, you can't test what doesn't exist. But you can test architecture decisions, early prototypes, security critical functionality like authentication flows or update mechanisms. Security reviews don't require finished grow alongside the system. When testing grows with development, findings are cheaper, learning builds over time, and surprises shrink. Yes, I agree. Shifting left is a positive thing. But what do we actually mean? What are we shifting left? If it's responsibility, then no, we're doing the wrong thing. But shifting expertise. Developers should absolutely understand security, but they are already experts in their professions. They can't be experts at both programming and security, and that's why we have security experts. That's putting too much responsibility on one role. Shifting security left without shifting security expertise just moves the blame earlier. Embedding one security expert per project or per team, it sounds ideal, but in reality, there just aren't enough experts. And long implementation phases will underutilize the experts. There is not that many security critical decisions to be made early in the projects. However, and also expertise decays without exposure to variety. That's why I would say that team adjacent expertise, having security experts that support multiple teams and see a variety of different systems, that will allow the expertise to grow and by seeing many systems fail through variety, not by isolation. You want security experts who work across systems, who stay sharp and see patterns, but also you want them to know your architecture, to understand your constraints and return repeatedly, close enough to understand the system, but not embedded in the team.
Just a question here, Jonas. Are you available for question now
Yes.
or later?
Preferably later.
Okay, perfect.
Vulnerabilities are teaching tools, and we can reinforce learning through targeted training. Pentesters find instances of vulnerabilities, but developers fix entire systems. One vulnerability, well explained, it fixes the issue, but the developer who understands what the problem is will be able to fix similar patterns that was not found in this particular instance. And it will also prevent reintroduction of the same vulnerability. Finding one vulnerability and will fix it in multiple places and will prevent it from being introduced 100-fold. The value of a vulnerability is proportional. This is not about finding more bugs, but it's about preventing classes of bugs. It's not turning developers into pen testers. It's not offloading responsibility. It is reinforcing real lessons, using real findings, making repetition less likely. Long-term security comes from understanding, not memorization. That's defense in depth at the human level. So, what is a successful pen test? Well, the earlier we can find vulnerabilities, the less likely, the less the cost is of fixing the vulnerability, and just at a later point. And if we have proper knowledge transfer in this process, if we're able to describe the vulnerabilities in a pedagogical way, then we will be able to prevent repeated mistakes. And you also need an honest communication. You need to be able, even though it can be hard sometimes and it can be uncomfortable, if we are able to communicate honestly, we will still win in the end. And continuous improvement by doing trainings, by learning from our mistakes. This is how we will succeed. So a pen testing philosophy is not about finding flaws. It's about creating a culture where find early, explain clearly, learn together, and prevent recurrence. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonas. I have some question as well, but let's start with Francisco. He has a question, and his view is that what if the manager decides to leave by themselves. I'm unsure Francisco is mentioning about the time of project execution being finished or on the pen testing, but I think I'm assuming that he's talking about end of project. If this happens by themselves, what do you think about that?
If the project manager chooses to leave result of the pen test, then I think it's a problem of how we have communicated the results. If I understood the question correctly.
Well, what will be the impact in that case on the project? Because the security posture, because he knows what should be acted upon in terms of findings, actions. So, what do you recommend? Because then at that point, you will get a new project manager who might not know anything.
Yes, and I guess that will reset the learning curve, right? But I think it is inevitable that people will switch jobs and will do other things in life. So um, I think if you have a culture where you learn, and if you are able to maintain that within the organization, it shouldn't rely on one person leaving or staying. It should rely on the organization and its ability to learn these, well, to learn from the results.
Yeah, very well said. Francisco, do you want to add anything or do you get an idea now about this? I think you're not able to unmute for some reason. I'm trying to allow that as well, but it doesn't work. But feel free to write the question.
Sorry, I think I managed to fix it up. Thanks. It's good. Thanks a lot for the answer.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question towards Jonas? Okay, I will take one question, and after that, if not more, then we can close the session. So Jonas, what do you think when doing the pen testing, how much project manager should be involved? Because do they should be informed about every activity or only the starting? Because if they know, they will be able to helpful in the execution of a pen test. What do you think?
I think that a tight integration between the pentest team and the project team is there's a lot of wins to be made from working close together. I think that in the sense where we have a direct communication, a direct line of communication with the developers, we are both able to get feedback and solve problems very early on, and we can immediately describe and communicate vulnerabilities as we find them. And I think that's very useful.
All right. So you believe that there can be interactive roles during execution of that pen test activity as well, not only at the end to give a shocker.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah, seems reasonable. Okay, anybody else has any question before we leave this session? All right, then thanks a lot, Jonas, and wish you a nice weekend as well. And we will take it after the lunch now. So looking forward to the next sessions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.